Geoff is a fictional land that is part of the Dungeons & Dragons role-playing game. Geoff was first described in 1983 in the World of Greyhawk campaign setting, where Geoff is properly known as the Grand Duchy of Geoff, and is a ducal political state of the fictional continent called the Flanaess. Besides being in literature and serving as a potential land of adventure for players of the Dungeons & Dragons campaign, the Grand Duchy of Geoff was selected by the RPGA and Wizards of the Coast as a region for its Living Greyhawk campaign, 2000 to 2008. As a result, thousands of role-players enjoyed adventures and other gaming events held in Geoff. History. As described in the original World of Greyhawk fantasy world setting, the Duchy of Geoff was at peace and safe from the ravages of war that threatened the continent. Later published boxed sets and supplements such as From the Ashes, Greyhawk Wars, Against the Giants, The Liberation of Geoff, and the Living Greyhawk Gazetteer described how the region was transformed in Common Year. Sci. 583, Flan tracking. FD. 2463 as armies of giants from the Crystal Mist Mountains mounted a brutal invasion. Much of the duchy was destroyed or enslaved. Geography and climate. Geoff is situated in the western Sheldamar Valley region of the Flanaess. The nation is bordered by the Crystal Mists to the west, the Barrier Peaks to the north, the Stark Mounds to the south, and the Javan River to the east. Its closest neighbors are the Valley of the Mage to the north, Gran March to the east, and Steric to the south. Geoff encompasses the entire Hornwood, most of the Oitwood, and the western portion of the Dim Forest. Due to its isolated position, Geoff experiences some unusual weather. Morning fog is quite common near the Dim Forest, contributing to northeastern Geoff's reputation for secrecy and hauntings. Rain is plentiful, with short, violent thunderstorms. Geoff experiences significant snowfall in winter, especially in the mountains and western regions. People. The human folk of Geoff show strong Flan racial characteristics, tempered by Sioux and Oeridian influences. Sylvan elves inhabit the Oitwood, Dim, and Hornwood forests, and dwarves dwell in the Crystal Mist and Barrier Peaks mountain ranges. Gnomes are present in the hilly regions south of Gorna. Halflings are also found in Geoff. Population. As of 591 Sci. The population of Geoff was numbered at 90,000 persons, the vast majority being humans. Elves, halflings, dwarves, and gnomes make up less than 20% of the total population. The land also includes vast numbers of uncounted orcs, goblins, giants, and other fell creatures. Religion. The most popular deities in Geoff are those of the Old Faith, Pella, Elita, Obed High, and Beori. Other popular deities include Aelona, Phaeton, Falongan, St. Cuthbert, and Norbo. The Seldarine and Nomesh pantheon also have strong followings. Languages. The most widely spoken languages in Geoff include Common, Flan, Keolandish, Elvish, Half-Uling, Orcish, Goblin, and Giant. In the Living Greyhawk campaign, the Flan language of Geoff is based on Welsh. The country is called Gyruff in Flan and its people are the Gyri. Quote, government. The Duchy of Geoff is a feudal monarchy allied with other nations of the Sheldamar Valley and swearing fealty to the Keosh crown. The national capital is Gorna. Administrative divisions. Prior to 584 Sci. The Grand Duchy of Geoff consisted of 6 high counties, numerous elven lordships among nomadic woodland tribes, and a few dwarf and gnome lordships in the Stark Mounds. Currently, there are several ill-managed provinces, commanded by the most powerful giants inhabiting former human cities. Executive branch. Geoff's chief of state is the Grand Duke, also known as the Brenin. The Grand Duke rules for life. The current Grand Duke is Owen I. who has been living in exile in Shibboleth, Grand March since 584 CE, due to the nation being overrun by giants during the Greyhawk Wars. Grand Duke Owen returned to Geoff in CE 591 to begin the effort to drive the giants from Geoff. Legislative branch. The distribution of legislative authority is not detailed in sourcebooks. It is likely based upon the 6 high counties mentioned in the Living Greyhawk Gazetteer, as well as the town descriptions in Against the Giants. The Liberation of Geoff. That there was some provincial and town legislative authority in the Living Greyhawk campaign. Each cantref is ruled by a LLWYR, Baron, or Arglawithy, Baron for smaller cantrevi. These LLWYRI, along with the peers of Geoff, adventurers and other worthies named by the Duke, and other selected officials, High Mage, Exchequer, etc., form the High Court. The High Court provides legislative support for the Duke. The Old Faith Druids are somewhat separate from the rest of the duchy, having some autonomy and at the same time influencing both executive and legislative decisions for the duchy. The Dwarven, Elven, and Gnomish nations are autonomous and not bound by laws made by the High Court. Heraldry. Geoff's coat of arms is blazoned thus: per pale sable and argent, a griffin rampant counterchanged. The coat of arms is illustrated at the top of this page. Economy. Resources. Prior to 584 CE, Geoff's most valuable resources were fur, wool, copper, silver, gold, timber, and gemstones. Currency. Geoff's standard coinage consists of the platinum griffin, pp, gold lion, GP, electrum eagle, EP, silver hawk, SP, and copper owl, CP. Transportation. Since the giant incursions, Geoff's roads are in disrepair. Traveling upon them is relatively safe. However, as giants tend to ignore roads to take the most direct overland path. Military. Prior to 584 CE, Geoff's military consisted of archers, mostly sylvan elves and half-elves, cavalry and pikemen. Very little evidence of an organized Geoffite army currently exists. Survivors of the giant invasion mounted limited guerrilla warfare or fled to Grand March Asteric, and from there encouraged the retaking of Geoff. As of 588 CE, many Knights of the Watch and Dispatch are based in the town of Hotrock, mounting small raids. Geoff in the Living Greyhawk RPGA campaign. The Grand Duchy of Geoff is also a playable region in the Living Greyhawk game. Players who join the RPGA can create characters, PCs, from Geoff and advance in level as they explore the region through adventures ordered from the RPGA for home play or at gaming conventions. The Geoff region has been consistently ranked in online polls as one of the favorite Living Greyhawk regions amongst players. Cantrevi. There are currently 13 cantrevi in the duchy. This includes the gain of 3 new cantrevi gifted by Keoland in late CY 594, as well as the loss of Arweth to the Grand March and Knights of the Watch in CY 594. Each cantrev is ruled by a Jyri warlord. Smaller cantrevi are ruled by Arglawiths, while larger ones are ruled by LLWYRI. Singular is LLWYR. Sing. Fem. Is Lores. LLWYRI are the highest level of nobility in Geoff, with Arglawiths being the second highest. However, there are no Arglawiths under a LLWYR. Each Arglawith has their own cantrev. Each cantreval leader serves the Brenin, who leads all of Geoff. To compare the Jyric nobility system to generally the English nobility system, which is similar to the system used in most of the Sheldamar Valley. LLWYR and Arglawiths are earls, or powerful military leaders. Arglawiths might be considered viscounts, perhaps. swearing fealty to LLWYRs in Arglawus Brayers, or barons. Noble ranks are generally inherited. However, all LLWYRI in Arglawus have to be approved by the Old Faith Druids. The approval by the Old Faith in large part rests on successfully undergoing a special ritual. Success indicates that the land of Geoff approves of their claim. Cantrevi vary in size, geography, and resources. Traditionally, the rulers of the Cantrevi, plural of Cantrev, were the leaders of large tribes or clans of Gyri. Over time, the tribes settled and began farming. Eventually, tribes or clans started claiming specific areas of land, which became the first Cantrevi. At various times in the history of the duchy, the leaders of the Cantrevi have engaged in warfare to settle disputes. ALLWYR Arglawith may be overthrown by force, but must ultimately gain the support of the Old Faith to retain the title and any lands acquired. Warmongering is not necessarily a negative quality for LLWYR Arglawith, though the requirement for druidic approval tends to keep such tendencies in check. LLWYRI and Arglawith have on several occasions claimed the throne, usually when a Brennan is absent or has died. This has led to civil war between Cantrevi. Any ultimate victor must of course be approved by the Old Faith and the land. The LLWYR of Ainsworth has thus far always been the Brennan. The position of Brennan came about because the LLWYRI and Arglawith ceded power to him so that there could be one warlord for all the Gyri. Traditionally, the LLWYRI and Arglawiths have had little interference from the Brennan in how they run their Cantrevi. In a certain sense, they consider themselves sovereign kings in their own right. This attitude has changed slowly over the years as CY 591-596, with the Brennan gaining more and more power. Events in the last few years have also changed things. With the vanquishing of the giants, Grand Duke Owen is more popular than ever, with many LLWYRI and Arglawiths killed in the fighting. Owen has appointed his supporters to fill the vacant positions. Dwarven Nations, the DWR, Dwarfs, of Gyruff are organized into 3 clan holds. Clan Deepholm, made up of mountain dwarfs, is just west of the Cantrev of Estrad Cloa and is home to the 3-hold Thane that rules over all dwarfs. Deepholm is known for its ale and its military might. Clan Stone Reavers holders in the Barrier Peaks, and the clan is known for their magical capability. Stone Reavers are mountain dwarfs. Clan Underhill is composed of hill dwarves and resides in the low hills or Erstcheck. Clan Underhill is known for their mining skill. Elven Nations. The Dim Forest is largely overtaken by the forces of the Shadow Dragon, though many elven towns remain in elven hands, predominantly wood elves. The Oitwood is home to the Grey Elves and the Weeping Council which guides them. The High Elves reside in the Hornwood, recently reclaimed from the Giants and led by a new High King. Gnome Nation. The Stark Mounds is in the southern area of Geoff and creates the border between Geoff and Steric. In these rolling lands live the Nonnas, gnomes. There are 13 clans of gnomes led by a king, who rules from Mound Gnomery. They are constantly targeted by goblinoid units under giant control due to several pivotal contributions the gnomes have provided to the Gyri in the war against the giants. The giants hope these goblinoid units will prevent further gnomish interference. Meta-organizations. The Living Geoff campaign has a number of meta-organizations to which player characters can belong. These provide additional detail to the setting. Military organizations. Historically, the military of Geoff was divided up into Cantrevel units. These could come together during times of war. This did not work well during the initial giant attack, slowing response time and contributing to the ease with which the giants gained control of the duchy. During the war against the Giants, an Army of Liberation was created and Cantreville units were disbanded. With the victory over the Giants in CY 595, the Army of Liberation was disbanded and Cantreville could once again maintain armies. In addition, a central force called the Brennan's Fist was created to provide a more rapid response for duchy-wide defense. In addition to the Cantreville militias and the Brennan's Fist, two other organizations provide military might. The Longbowmen of Geoff are an independent organization that attracts the finest Gyri archers, armed with the famous Gyri 5-foot yew longbow. They are composed of three paths: the Araith, the Crefford, and the Ferru. The Olwithia Rangers, monitoring the wilderness and serving the Gyir as well as the land. Both were formidable opposition to the Giants. Events of the first 5 years. 2471–2476 FD. The Geoff Living Greyhawk campaign began in 2001. 591 Sire 2471 FT. Flan tracking. Placing would-be heroes in Hotchok, the only free town in all of Geoff. Players enjoyed a compelling 5-year story arc allowing them to play a part in freeing Geoff from the giant armies. Triads and volunteers created a wealth of background information. A multitude of organizations their characters could join and help shape, and engaging and challenging modules and interactives. In December 2006, 596 Psi 2476 FD. The players and their characters succeeded in freeing Geoff from the Giants through a combination of module and interactive events that defeated both the giant armies and the mysterious Sakit leaders. Geoff was one of a few regions to allow retiring characters the option of becoming part of the setting. Cross-regional machinations. Triads in the Geoff and Grand March regions created tension between the two regions as the Grand March was shown to have designs upon the town of Hotchok, adding a vivid cultural and political dimension to the gaming environment. Through a nefarious deal, the town of Hotchok ceased to be controlled by Geoff and was given by the Grand March to the Knights of the Watch. This resulted in the town ceasing to be part of the playable region, becoming the seat of power for the Knights of the Watch, in creating further enmity between player characters in the two regions. Online events. Online play was a hallmark of the Geoff region. Players used the Living Geoff Yahoo group to post player character stories. Soon the player characters began to interact with one another. The Triad blessed this interaction, bringing NPCs to the forum and making the events official. After volatile events, the Triad created the Geoff Online Yahoo group solely for the purpose of online in-character interactions. Notable incidents that changed the region include Vardus Skaa mocking the Old Faith, resulting in the Knights of the Watch almost storming the half-orc camp of Clear Sky, the repeated naming of the evil god Iuzed in the Boar's Knuckle Tavern, resulting in a permanent portal to the abyss appearing in the inn, and the building being condemned. Players gathering their power to close the portal in the Boar's Knuckle Tavern. The folly of a PC named Havoc, who broke local rules and was captured by the Griffin Guard and placed in a slab of stone until given over to his region of Veluna. A PC rogue who took the head of a stone giant was accompanied by other PCs in returning the head to its kin, setting the events for a future module. The Dollhouse event, resulting in a giant spy becoming an ally to Geoff. A ball where PCs could woo important NPCs for lasting relationships. Melwyn Graham's interruption of a wedding. The background. Off of the main list. Machinations of groups such as the Midnight Ravens, Evro-Ligardi, NSC, and Peers of Geoff. The expulsion of several members of the Geoff Peers due to attempted assassination of a Cantreville Lord. A schism between members of the Old Faith regarding discussion on the weakening of Jyri blood. Teasers. The Geoff region became known for releasing teasers, often prior to a convention, that communicated recent events to players, added background to the setting in its NPCs, and created interest for conventions and module premieres. The quality of the teasers was due to many authors and proofreaders, but was in no small part due to the overall storyline vision of Triad members Sholem West and Eric Menger. Sholem West was the driving force behind many of the early storylines and a great deal of the background, while Eric Menger was instrumental in establishing teasers and metagame information. Convention interactives. The Geoff region enjoyed a wide variety of role-playing and battle interactive by events beginning in July 2001 with the Battle of the Bloody Ridge. The interactives helped to attract players from other regions to conventions and to spread Geoff's reputation across the LG player base. Area gaming groups such as Plan B, Griffin's Wrath, The Regulators, and Boomkegs volunteered to create interactives events of the second 5 years. 2477-2482 FD. In January 2007. CY 597-2477 FT. The second story arc began, slowly revealing a renewed threat from the Shadow Dragon in the Dim Forest. Various important women, the daughters of Geoff, have shown to be central to emerging events. Finally, the Gnomish Kingdom seems to be facing threats from within and may destabilize the region. List of RPGA Living Greyhawk Geoff modules. Year 1 modules added the player character levels together to determine the difficulty tiering system. Year 2 and later modules used an average of the character levels, also known as APL, average party level, to determine the difficulty. Coders. Introductory modules for first-level characters only. Triads. While a comprehensive list of all volunteers that have made the Geoff region such a success is not possible, the Triad members that have made this possible and who lead all the efforts can be recognized. Sholem West, Tim Jocelyn, Mitch Harrelson, Rob Canterman, Brian Lamprecht, Eric Menger, Brad Lester, Mark Judson, Elisa Clary, Sean Hillman, current, Jose Ortiz, current, John Pieper, current, Timothy Miles, current, Moore, Rodri, Greyhawk, The Adventure Begins, Renton, Wizards of the Coast, 1998, Sergeant, Carl, From the Ashes, Lake Geneva, TSR, 1992, Living Greyhawk Geoff Triad site with extensive regional background information. Living Geoff Yahoo Group, Geoff Online Yahoo Group, Wizards of the Coast's official Living Greyhawk site.